So I need to make a video, just getting stuff off my chest, kind of thing. Mental health is a big topic in my life, and I hope that I can kind of show some uh, altruism and try to alleviate some of the stigma behind mental health and its uh, everybody's response to it, because people have a tendency to go on witch hunts, and apparently we don't learn from history, and we end up hurting people that don't deserve it. So I use my case as kind of like a good example as to why you shouldn't judge a book by your understanding. I believe in something called mental math, and it's your ability to rationalize and use logic and reason to reach conclusions. It's this plus this equals this kind of thing. Uh, if you don't train yourself in those ways, then you're going to make assumptions which make an ass out of you and me, kind of thing. So, I have what is called post-traumatic stress disorder. I reached this disorder through living, and what we'll do is a little exercise. We're going to throw out a bunch of variables, and we're going to add them together and see if it equals post-traumatic stress disorder or if you think it equals something else. So for me, my parents, like, we'll start where you're supposed to start, which is childhood. I had a terrible relationship with my parents. I was the oddball out, black sheep, if you will. Middle child, you name it. I was never able to form a good relationship with either of them because they just never engaged in things that I found interesting. Um, didn't have a very good relationship with my brothers. We're just too different. They're dudes. I'm Matt. Um, so I lost my dad. Uh, he died in a plane crash in New Zealand, and with all my daddy issues leading up to that, that's a very traumatic experience for me because it leaves many things unresolved, and you have to try and rationalize and move on with a bunch of things that were kind of abruptly brought to a close. So there's that. Fast forward a year, my mom is now dying of cancer. Like, I find her on the toilet one morning. She's in an incredible amount of pain, and I don't know what to do. According to the counselors I've seen, each one agrees that in that situation it's fight or flight and freeze, and my body chose to freeze. So essentially, I was in shock after finding my mom, who I'm familiar with and is my parent and stuff like that, in a life-threatening situation. So I didn't have any instincts or anything like that. I just know that I need to go phone the ambulance. So I go downstairs, and luckily for me, a bunch of her friends show up, so they're able to kind of come to the rescue. Um, but they themselves kind of found themselves in a bit of a state of shock, and I don't think they were able to kind of take into account that I don't know what the fuck's going on with my mom. Um, so having just found my mom, like, I literally just woke up and found her. Like, it was like straight out of bed, boom, bathroom. Oh, hey, there's my mom dying. Um, so she's taken to the hospital, and again, I don't know the severity of what's going on, so they have her on a bunch of drugs, and she's joking around with all the friends in the room, and she's conscious and awake. And regrettably for me, my last words to my mom were, "I won't be back," because I didn't grasp the situation, and I didn't know what was going on, and nobody there was explaining the severity of anything. And, like, I can't be in a tight room with a bunch of people. I've lived my life very secluded and alone, and that's just the way I like it. So I don't want to be a part of other people's feelings. Like, I just want to tell everybody to fuck off and just let me be with my mom, kind of thing. But also, I'm really nice, so I want to let people just be doing their thing and not disrupt anybody. Um, Fast forward a little bit into the night, and I get the notification that we have to go up to the hospital because my mom's on her last legs. She's been put into a kind of like a coma thing. So the remainder of the night was stuck in a room with a bunch of people that were driving me nuts, and watching my mom gasping for air and then slowly stop breathing and then start breathing again, and I couldn't be there, so I had to leave. And I don't think that was understood very well by other people because, again, people don't know me at all. They've got their own misconceptions and their own idea of who I am based on hearsay and gossip. So shame on you and your mental math. This plus this does not equal that in your view. So my mom dies a week after my birthday. And then that following fall, I have to go away for school. So I move out of my house for the first time in my life to a house shared by a bunch of people, other people's children. So, like other people's dogs, if they're not trained very well, I don't like them. I don't like people on the best of days. Early childhood, just going to school in a small town made me hate people. You see behaviors that are in childhood and then in adults, and you just think, like, why are you the way that you are? So you can't fix anything. I'm now trapped in this house with a whole bunch of people. I'm going to school, trying to juggle that, trying to juggle my mental health issues. I'm actively seeking counseling and stuff. I'm now drinking heavily. I am having about a 26er every other day kind of thing. Struggling to go to school. Those roommates all move out. Then the following fall, I got new roommates. And this is where I had a bit of an episode here. New roommates move in, and the landlord had freshly painted the walls of the entire house over the summer. And these new dudes are throwing knives at a wall. So part of me is thinking, okay, I want to be friends with these people, but the adult in me is thinking, you guys are a bunch of fucking idiots. Why are you doing this? And I don't know what to do in that situation because I'm trapped with these people and my brain can't kind of make sense of what's going on. So when it rains, it pours. My close friend has to go in for a double lung transplant. So this is like life-saving surgery type of thing. And this happened during my little freak out. And like, I'm not in a state of mind to be able to kind of rationally speak or make sense of what's going on in my head. So I can't expect other people to kind of make sense of what's going on in my head. So I make a complete ass of myself and I get absolutely no help from anybody. And I have to go on struggling with my shit. And then that happened, and then fast forward to the following fall, I'm still stuck in this house. My course was only 2 years, but I now have to stay an extra year because I failed in the fall because obvious bullshit. So these 2 courses were only available in the following fall, so I had to stay another summer, and I get another bunch of roommates, and I got hit by a truck. Like, it was raining one winter night, and global warming decided to do its thing, and it started pouring rain, and as I was crossing the street, a giant truck hit me, and I went flying. Stuck the landing, though, so good for me. The truck was about shoulder height, so if I had not jumped at a specific time, I probably would have died or been underneath the truck in terrible condition. So near life death experience for me. That was not fun, and that's where I just had enough of that place and I had to move back home. But home is no longer home for me. My house has been taken over by my brothers. My brothers were living there free of charge, and the people running the estate that my mom left behind had drained the bank account, basically paying rent for my 2 brothers. All 3 of us received a large chunk of life insurance after my mom passed, so they should have been paying to live in that house, but instead the estate was paying for their well-being, and I took great issue with that because they were just spending money in really stupid ways. But since they were given a job and authority and stuff, like, there's no arguing with them. They're right all the time. So my once childhood home has just suddenly disappeared. I left my house to go to school because I felt like that was the right thing to do. Like, this was in the works, and I'm a dude. Like, I'm just going to power through all my feelings and all my bullshit, and I'm just going to get this shit done. And I stacked too much on my plate, so yeah. And then I finally found myself in the arms of a actual psychiatrist, and because up until this point I didn't think anything was truly terribly wrong. I just knew that I had lots to talk about all the time, but it got to that point where medication became needed, and I was formally diagnosed with something because my family and friends didn't want to do anything with me because they all thought that I needed severe help, despite the fact that I'd already been trying to seek help, and they were just using mental health issues as an excuse to justify their treatment of me and stuff. So yeah, let's takes, like, if you've been keeping track, this plus this plus this equals this type of thing. So here I am, me, myself, and I, and like, I get to keep going because I wake up every morning to my face and my body and my hairline and my sense of humor, and like, I've got a lot going for me in a lot of areas. So like, I can keep myself happy, and I've got video games and such, but like, that doesn't mean that I'm healthy. Like, there's lots still going on that I'm just miserable all the time. Because again, I've just severed ties with a bunch of people that were no good, and they've got it in their heads that they're in the right and I'm in the wrong and stuff like that. But again, mental math, you just got to keep score and know that your viewpoint is correct. So the point of this is to kind of get rid of the stigma of mental health issues, because again, people just use it as a, like, all willy-nilly, like, oh, this guy's got this thing wrong with him. And there's a TV show called Legion. It's a Marvel Comics thing, and throughout the series, John Hamm, I don't know if you know him, he delivers a series of monologues just talking about goings on in the world and like philosophical stuff, and one of them touches on I'll call it the rotten apple analogy, where if one apple is rotten, all the other apples are going to target that apple. But then it's talking about how sometimes that can be reversed, and if you're the only healthy apple, all the rotten apples are going to target you. So it's all about human psychology and stuff, which I find really interesting, because like, psychology is what we are. Like, all our decisions and actions and stuff have explanations. It's all a matter of mental math, right? So again, just trying to get rid of the stigma and talk about my issues, because as many times as I've discussed them, I've never really been able to put together much of a storyboard. So I hope that my story is kind of helpful for anybody that needs it, and they're sitting there like, oh man, it sucks to be me, kind of thing, and they can see me and be like, oh wow, it actually doesn't suck to be me. Because yeah, like, I don't go around saying, hey, like, I am awesome, but I'm also like, everything about my life sucks. So yeah, taketh from this what you willeth, as long as the mental math adds up. You can, there you go. Because math is objective and stuff. So all this leading up to my diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder. So that is how mental health works. That is how the human brain should work, in my viewpoint on it. Well, it's totally subjective, but I thought I'd make a video on it. So yeah, there you go.